Sometimes the people who try to make you lose your mind the most are the ones who are lost in their own thoughts, and deep down, you should feel sorry for them. The best way to deal with those who persecute you is to smile and keep walking, while they drown in their own bitterness. The greatest revenge you can have is to live so well and in peace that your enemies simply have nothing to complain about. Never bother to respond to an insult. It is likely not an opinion, but a reflection of what the other person sees in the mirror. When you are busy enjoying life, critics don't know what to do except speak louder in the hope that you will hear them. The secret to overcoming those who hurt you is to not let them know how happy you are without them. Usually, envy says much more about the envious person than about the envied person. All you have to do is listen to them complain about their own shortcomings. Live in such a way that even if your enemies lie about you, no one will believe them. Always maintain your composure and, if possible, add a smile. Nothing disconcerts those who wish you harm more than your good humor. Revenge is a dish best served cold, but indifference is the one that stays in the refrigerator until the other person forgets you exist. Never be in a hurry to punish your enemies. Most of the time, life is more creative than us, and it knows exactly what to do. Nothing infuriates your adversaries more than seeing you emerge unscathed from their attacks. Smile, thank them, and move on. Some people spend so much time trying to harm others that they forget to mind their own business. The best punishment you can give them is to leave them there, busy with their own pettiness. It is always better to keep your enemies close. This prevents them from wasting time inventing theories about your life. Your enemies would love for you to lose sleep over them, but you must have learned by now that a good night's sleep is the best response to any insult. Remember that there is no greater pleasure for those who want you to fall than to see you stress out for them. Therefore, keep calm and disappoint them with your peace. The biggest mistake an enemy can make is to underestimate someone who knows exactly how to act without giving away their flag. Those who hate you expect to receive something in return. Don't feed it. Your indifference will be what weakens them. Those who spend their lives spreading poison end up finding only snakes around them. Handling contempt in a polite and superior way makes your opponents think twice before trying again. Just because you get up doesn't mean you should do it for any provocation. Some falls only deserve your silence and your indifference. Let people spend their time talking about you. While they do that, you will be living. No offense deserves your peace, especially if it comes from someone who does not know what it is to live in peace with himself. Be silent in the face of those who shout at you. Nothing is more deafening to them than your silence. Life has an ironic sense of humor. Just when your enemies think you have failed, that is when you are about to take the next step. Nothing frustrates a bully more than conscious ignorance of his presence. Before continuing, just check if you are already subscribed to this channel, because I am preparing a special series with the best quotes from Mark Twain to help you face life with more ease and purpose. People who truly want you to be well do not demand your downfall, and those who demand your downfall certainly do not deserve your attention. There are those who live to cause discomfort, and those who live to laugh at the discomfort caused. It is always better to be on the laughing side. Few things are as disarming as a sincere smile in the face of a desperate attempt to provoke anger. If someone does everything to be your enemy, it is because they fear you more than they have the courage to be a better person. Nothing infuriates those who talk behind your back more than seeing you walk ahead, ignoring their comments. It is always better to carry a smile and good humor as a response. Let the rest deal with their own bitterness. Instead of returning every stone you receive, build something with it that others will envy. Some people fail to understand that their own attitudes are the worst punishment they could receive. If someone has the habit of stepping on others, leave them alone. He will soon realize that he has only succeeded in sinking. Let your critics talk freely. Nothing is more irritating to them than realizing that you simply do not care. The true victory against any enemy is to continue living in such a way that he is an insignificant detail in your path. A person who causes storms wherever he goes should not expect a life without lightning. The best sign of maturity is knowing when to ignore those who try to get on your nerves. Your enemies are just people who have not learned the lesson of living without bothering others. But this lesson is not your responsibility. When others realize that they have no power over your peace, they will look for someone else to torment. Nothing discourages a person full of hate more than the calm and good humor of someone who does not care about him. Always be honest and fair, especially with those who do not deserve it. Nothing disarms a villain more than kindness that he does not know how to interpret. There are those who believe that, in order to be happy, they need to see you unhappy. It is a pity that they have not yet discovered how happiness works. The greatest frustration for those who envy you is to realize that you completely ignore them, like a stone that is not worth its weight. If someone tries to be your enemy, be kind to him. Nothing is more disconcerting than someone who does not accept invitations to war. Some try to win by force, others by cunning, but there are few who know how to win by peace of mind. It is useless to try to argue with someone who only sees what he wants to see, so just smile and let them get lost in their own darkness. Those who live by sowing discord do not know the pleasure of cultivating their own happiness. Nothing infuriates a person full of hate more than seeing their happiness unshakable. The secret to a peaceful life is to ignore everything that others think and not care about what they say. Some people seem to spend their lives testing the patience of others. Be grateful that it is the test they always fail. The best way to overcome those who wish you harm is to do it without them ever knowing about your effort. If someone seems to spend too much time planning your failure, perhaps it is time to show them how to live in peace. There is no greater sadness for a bitter person than to realize that they have failed to steal your joy. You know you have won when you care so little about your detractors that they cannot even get a reaction from you. Some people want to see you stumble because they think it will elevate them, but a stumble of your own is nothing compared to the fall that selfishness causes. Few things are as effective as the indifference of those who know that their opinions are worth more than any cheap criticism. When someone tries to pull you down, remember that it says much more about the height that they themselves have reached. Hating is an effort that costs too much. Indifference, on the other hand, requires no effort at all. It is easier to maintain control of the situation when you do not care what those around you think about control. Some try to fight, others try to argue, but few try to understand, and these are the only ones who deserve your attention. The best answer to any criticism is to continue living well. That says it all without you having to say anything. There is nothing more discouraging to someone who hates you than to realize that you are too busy living to reciprocate the feeling. For those who love discord, seeing someone at peace is like a thorn that never goes away. Perhaps this is the sweetest punishment of all. If someone thinks that harsh words will hurt you, it is because they do not yet know how strong your calm is. Be so happy that those who hate you are forced to rethink their own lives. The greatest irony is to see that your critics spend more time thinking about you than you spend thinking about them. Life is too short to pay attention to those who do not deserve it, and long enough for them to realize it too late. True power lies in knowing exactly what to say in response, and more often than not, preferring silence. If someone irritates you, it's because they still have control over you. How sad it must be for them to discover that you no longer listen to them. Some people believe that their silence is a weakness, but they don't realize that, in fact, it is their greatest strength. A good reputation is something that is built without saying anything. Those who talk too much end up revealing much more about themselves. The worst punishment for someone who hates you is to see you smiling while they sink into their own bitterness. If you live to respond to every criticism, you will spend your life explaining to those who have already decided not to understand. If someone wants to see you fail, the greatest gift you can give them is to keep winning without caring. Those who spend their lives creating storms discover sooner or later that they don't know how to swim in calm waters. The greatest response you can give to an insult is a heartfelt laugh and a walk away. If you need to defend yourself, you've already lost the battle. The best defense is indifference. True strength lies in knowing that you don't need to prove anything to anyone but yourself. Those who try to pull the rug out from under you forget that you can take flight without needing ground. Some scream for attention, while others walk in silence, sure of their own worth. Those who think they can hurt you with words have never understood that true peace lies in those who don't flinch. When they attack you, remember that it's just a reflection of what they see in themselves. There's no better revenge than being the best version of yourself while they try to bring you down. Let me tell you something important. The simple fact that you took the time to listen to these lessons already makes you the most intelligent and far ahead of most people. It doesn't matter how you listen to these quotes, whether you're washing the dishes, cleaning the house, exercising, or lying down for a moment of rest. If you were able to reflect, that's what matters. Tell me in the comments below, what are you doing while listening to these lessons? Silence is a response that teaches more than any argument could teach. Sometimes the best attack is not to attack. Few understand the power of patience and calm. Some expect you to sink to their level, but they forget that you are already on another level. The best response to someone who underestimates you is to show, without words, that you have always known your worth. If someone tries to make you stumble, it is because they know they will never be able to keep up with you. Those who persecute you end up getting tired of a race you never started. The greatest punishment for those who live off criticism is to discover that their life has never been affected by it. True victory is to live in such a way that those who envy you cannot find a single flaw. Your detractors would like to be an obstacle to you, but they end up being mere spectators of your success. Few know the weight of peace carried by those who live without the need to attack. If someone tries to offend you, it's because you're taking up space they'd like to occupy. The best way to ignore an insult is to let it pass without any reaction. If you're always at peace, you'll realize that the hatred of others is nothing more than background noise. Those who provoke you wait for you to lose your temper. Nothing is more frustrating to them than your smile. If someone tries to be a thorn in your side, remember that you're a flower that grows above the weeds. The best revenge is a life well lived. Nothing haunts others more than your constant shine. Those who envy you wish they could ignore how happy you are, but they can't. Those who talk behind your back are those who don't have the courage to walk by your side. True strength lies in staying calm when the world around you seems to want to bring you down. Those who wait for you to lose control are the first to lose when they see you're calm. If someone tries to be your shadow, it's because they never had their own light. True power lies in living in such a way that even those who hate you are forced to recognize your worth. When you know who you are, you don't have to prove anything to anyone. This drives those who live for appearances crazy. Few things are more irritating to those who wish you harm than your constant happiness. When someone lives to diminish you, they forget that you can always grow beyond your limits. If you have inner peace, those who live in conflict are forced to observe you from a distance. If someone thinks they control you with criticism, show them that you are a river that flows without getting stuck on rocks. Those who try to hurt you with words only reveal that they have nothing more solid to offer. The best antidote to the poison of others is a life lived in full health and peace. Those who despise you would like to steal your happiness, but they only succeed in tickling your spirit. Those who try to control you realize sooner or later that you have always been the master of your own path. If someone talks about you behind your back, know that you are the landscape they cannot ignore. True strength lies in ignoring the rocks in the path and moving forward with firm steps. Those who live to criticize others are those who have never built anything worthwhile. The best way to win a war is to refuse the invitation to battle. Those who want to see you fall are the same ones who will one day need your help to get up. If you want to truly confuse those who attack you, respond with a polite smile and a slight nod, as if to say you understand their pain, even if you really don't. When someone tries to insult you, remember that they only give it so much because somehow you take up more space in their mind than they ever would in yours. There are people who try to convince you that you need to change to fit their standards, but these people are usually the least qualified to give advice on anything, especially happiness. The quickest way to make your enemies lose interest is to seem absolutely delighted with the life they despise. Nothing makes them more uncomfortable than seeing you thrive without caring about their opinions. If someone spends their time trying to point out every one of your mistakes, it may be because they have no successes of their own to show off, and while they get lost in criticism, you move on, collecting achievements. Nothing is more frightening to those who envy you than to realize that you keep climbing, without ever looking down, where they remain, waiting for your downfall. When someone becomes obsessed with bringing you down, it is because, in some way, they believe that you are above them. It's funny how even those who criticize you the most end up praising you without realizing it. The best argument against any provocation is to live so fully that others feel embarrassed for having wasted their time trying to bother you. True freedom is not in responding to every insult, but in ignoring them with the confidence of someone who knows that their value does not depend on anyone but themselves. It's funny how some people spend so much effort trying to belittle you, without realizing that they are only increasing their importance by dedicating so much of themselves to you. Nothing frustrates a person who wants you to be unhappy more than realizing that you wake up every day with a smile on your face, completely oblivious to their desires. Some people believe that the best way to deal with their own faults is to point out the faults of others, but from where you are standing, it seems more like a desperate attempt to distract others from their own mistakes. The most elegant revenge against those who despise you is to live so fully that even they have to recognize your value, even if in silence and, of course, seething with envy. There are those who, upon seeing you happy, become uncomfortable and try to find some flaw in your life. The funny thing is that, while they do this, their own lives continue to be full of flaws. People who criticize you incessantly usually do so to convince themselves that they are not as small as they feel. And the best response to this is to keep growing silently. When your enemies realize that the only thing they gain from attacking you is your indifference, they may start to think about how they could have used that time to improve themselves. It's no wonder that some people get upset when they see you relaxed. They expected their teasing to be enough to ruin your day. But they forgot that you have long since overcome that kind of thing. The true measure of success is how many people are bothered by seeing you doing well. The more uncomfortable they are, the better you must be doing. If the people who criticize you really cared about you, they certainly wouldn't take so much pleasure in pointing out your mistakes. The truth is that they care less about you than about their own ego. Those who insist on pointing out your every flaw would actually like to be able to point out their own successes. But they settle for little because they have already realized that they will never have much. When they criticize you incessantly, remember that a person's obsession with you does not change anything in your life, but it reveals a lot about theirs. There is no insult more disconcerting to those who try to bring you down than your smile, because it says that you not only heard what was said, but chose not to care. Some people spend so much time observing you that they seem to be more interested in your life than in their own. In that case, perhaps it is an honor for you. If someone spends hours thinking about how to harm you, it is because in some way your existence causes him profound discomfort, and this is one of the most unexpected forms of victory. Few things are as irritating to someone who can't stand you as seeing you move forward without ever looking back, without ever stumbling, without ever caring. The best way to defeat someone who wishes you harm is to continue living well, while he stands on the sidelines, trying to understand how you are so unfazed. Leave the quote that had the biggest impact on you in the comments below. I'll tell you about my favorite quote from this video. It goes like this. It's interesting how some people believe that pointing out other people's flaws automatically makes them superior, without realizing that by doing so, they only diminish themselves. There is no more effective provocation for those who wish you unhappiness than seeing you smile, because they realize that their efforts were completely in vain. Nothing bothers those who live on appearances more than seeing you truly living, without having to hide anything, without having to pretend anything. If someone insists on seeing you in a bad way, remember that this is only a reflection of their own faults. Those who live well have no time to wish harm on others. When someone tries to belittle you, it is because in some way, they believe that you are too big for them to handle alone. So they resort to the only weapon they have, criticism. The best revenge is a full life, without remorse, without giving explanations, without caring about what those who hate you think. If someone insists on hurting you, do not take it personally. He would do the same to anyone who threatened the place he never had. The people who insist on attacking you are the same ones who watch you the most. And deep down, that should be a source of pride. Nothing frustrates someone who attacks you more than realizing that their attacks had no impact whatsoever on your mood, your peace, your life. As you reflect on these powerful quotes from Mark Twain, remember that wisdom is not just in hearing them, but in applying them to your daily life. How many times have you found yourself stuck in limiting thoughts, or feeling like you weren't living your life to the fullest? Each of these quotes is a powerful insight to help you transform your mindset and live a more authentic and courageous life. If you feel inspired and want to continue this journey of personal growth, be sure to watch the other videos on the channel. Each new quote can be the boost you need to face your challenges with greater strength and clarity.